Caring for your tree. Removing what I thought was a competing rootstock to discover that it was a diseased tree.
Welcome back. Today I'm going to be pruning this Merryweather Damson behind me. So this is a grafted tree, and the issue is that half the tree has the grafted scion on it and is getting these nice green leaves and blossom. The other half of the tree is looking bare and still dormant, and at this time of the year the Merryweather Damson should be out in full flower. It should have had its blossom already, and so it's looking like it's probably the rootstock which is coming through. Now we don't want the rootstock to take over or drain the tree. We want to just have our Merryweather Damson and keep the rootstock where it should be, at the bottom, just feeding the scion. That's where it's been grafted from. I was expecting these two branches to both a bit above the rootstock, so I was expecting them to be okay, but apparently not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be pruning it off today. Now we need very hot, sunny weather, so if you can't see my face, I'm sorry, but I needed a sunny day today because I don't want rain. We don't want rain today or for the next few days, and it's clear today, it's clear tomorrow, it's clear the day after, and it's due to be clear the day after that, which is excellent. Why don't we want rain? It's because fungal infections, fungal spores can spread in the water, and if there's an open wound on the tree, it makes it more likely to get diseased. It's also in the spring, and the two times to prune a damson or a stoned fruit is in springtime or in summer after it's fruited. So when I cut the tree, I'm going to try and do as little damage as possible. Quite often when you're cutting, it may tear. So you do a cut partway through, then the weight of a tree pulls down and it tears the bark down, creating a big, long gash down the tree. Now I don't want that to happen. So there's two things I'm going to do to try and reduce that risk. First, I'm going to saw underneath to make it so that if it does tear, it then gets into that bit which will cut through underneath and we'll stop there. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a higher up cut and then do a lower one down once I've got the weight off a tree where I really want the cut to be. And that means that it's not got that weight on it, so it's less likely to tear down and ruin everything. If I do tear it, then I'll do it on that higher one where I'm going to get rid of all that bit that's torn anyway. Torn. Oh, it may be an infection actually, look at that. What we're getting is we're getting these two colours in this tree. That's interesting. That's suggesting it may be a fungal infection, so that's not good. So that's called spalted wood when it looks like that. And the discoloration is due to the fungal infection which is getting the tree. Right, then let's get this as close as I can. So it's okay for me to touch this bit, but I wouldn't want to touch the last bit that I've got. This bit's okay because I'm not going to be, it's not going to be connected to the tree, but the last bit I want to be as clean as possible. Seems to be okay. Actually, it's probably easier if I do it all in one cut here. Just go slowly so I don't scratch the main tree. Okay, that's looking better actually. So it's suggesting that it's not got all the way up if this is an infection.
Back at home, away from the tree, I have a bit of a poke around to see what the wood looks like and the infection within it. You can see the disease on the outside of the bark, which has made it a bit softer, and on the inside you can see how it has spread towards the centre of the branch. I'm glad we cut off this branch. I will keep an eye on it. I'm hoping it has not infected the main part of the tree, but it was fairly close to where those two branches separated. And so I'll keep an eye on the tree and hopefully it'll be fine in future. So it appears there wasn't an issue with the rootstock growing and outcompeting the scion, but this can quite often happen. In these cases, it is best to prevent the rootstock from growing as soon as possible. The earlier you get it, the better. So if you just see some buds coming out of a rootstock, then the best thing you can do is knock them off with your thumb. If it gets bigger, then you can do the same as we did today and saw it off. In general, pruning is a good way to keep your tree healthy.
I'll weed around the tree, getting rid of all that grass, and then put mulch on top. Before I do that, now I'll check the health of the tree. Let's have a look. Okay. So we've got the rootstock, this is a grafted tree, so we've got the rootstock at the bottom and we've got the graft on top. You can see where the rootstock was cut off, and so it's quite an obvious sign on this tree. I want to make sure that the soil level doesn't get above there. I want to have a look for any bits of growth from the rootstock that may come up and take over from the tree, stop putting nutrients into the grafted scion, and instead put it into those shoots from the rootstock. So I'm just rubbing around. If there's any bud which starts to appear, I just wipe it off so it can't grow anymore. And that's looking good. Put this protector back on now. What I tend to do is, so I'm not too worried about getting a bit of mulch here, but I don't want too much. I prefer not to get it above the rootstock if possible.
Thank you for watching. See my similar videos on permaculture projects and historical ways to manage the land. See you next time.